Welcome back to that build, and to a few small updates, just like this seat, which is back to the original. So this episode is literally just going to be going over the small things I've done in between the last time and now, which really isn't much. It wasn't worthy of a full video like I've done with everything else in this car. It is teeny tiny bits here and there. Probably starting from front to back, most likely the easiest part. A bit of this I did video for, because I've literally just filmed it for this, which involves the prop lid for the front here. So the rubber was missing. That's now been replaced. The actual arm can move freely. It doesn't jig about and rattle and everything like that. So that was the first thing to be replaced. The wiper arms here, I've sprayed them now the matte black color, same as what's on the bonnet. So I did spray them initially as enamel black, and they actually did reflect the light even in here rather badly. So sprayed them matte black. But when the caps came in for these, because they didn't come with caps, the caps are shiny. So it looks a little odd in the front end here. Not overly fussed about it. I can always get a bit of matte vinyl and wrap those, but really, feel the need to. The wipers though, there is a slight issue with them. It's most on the driver's side, and it's not a big problem for now. I can live with it. But the right side, or driver's side anyway, does not do the full sweep. I've either got to have it resting properly at the bottom, and then it kind of goes 3/4 of the way up. It misses that last little section. Or if I adjust it for the full sweep and then it goes back to the rest position, it's then like halfway on the windshield. So I'm looking directly in line with it. So the arm here, obviously the splines or something is not right. I'll need to take all that out again in the future and do it. But for now, I'm not really too fussed. I can see it covers most of the windscreen, unless I'm driving one day and then it completely fails, then I'm really gonna be screwed. But whatever, we'll deal with that when I get to it. The rubbers will need to be replaced on the windshield wiper arms. Let's get new arms for those. The driver's side does seem like it can get larger. Passenger side certainly can't, but the driver's side, it says you're supposed to use the same side in these cars, but I can actually, there's still a good, probably inch or two that I could have a longer wiper arm. So I might actually go about getting a longer one on the driver's side. Yeah. The battery terminal had this stupid setup going on. Ended up getting the original OEM battery connection there. So it does have now everything except the plastic cover. The plastic cover is no longer available. I'll have to try and think of something for that one. But the only trouble is though, the fusible link wire, which is for all the running parts of the car, not just the starter motor line, it's more or less hanging on by literally a couple of threads of copper to the eyelet. So we'll need to get a new eyelet. Unfortunately, I would have included that with this video and just had everything done, but I found that out literally at the last second this morning when I was doing this. I don't have any eyelets this size to use, so I'll need to get one of those, recrimp that, and then put that back on. So yeah, again, not a big issue on that one. I can do that in 2 seconds later. Everything else otherwise, if you ever notice for the keen-eyed amongst you, the headlights used to kind of wobble about when I was doing the cleaning and the delaminating of the vinyl and everything like that. I was originally going to take this front end off, and so I had all the bolts started to be loosened because some of them were just they broke off as I was removing them, and then I just kept working WD and just kept tightening, loosening, etc. and so on. Because I didn't remove the front end at the end, I just ended up tightening the bolts back up, so the headlights no longer wobble about. They're quite nice and strong. They go up and down with ease, etc. and so on. So they're all sorted now. Moving into the midsection, I think everything else in the front was done. Obviously the driver's seat, as you saw, that's been changed back to the original one. Main reason being is because when I initially do drive this car, it will be on the public roads. I cannot use a Spark on the public roads without surely enough, getting pulled over, getting the car defected, and then having to go through that whole fiasco. So it's just easier to have the OEM seats in here. They are still quite nice. I do like them. I just wish they had a bit more support in the base, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the Sparco. But the Sparco still holds you way better regardless. And of course, the intent and purpose of this car is for the track. Sparco is a much better thing. I do need to drill a couple of extra holes, as mentioned way back when. Now that I have it out, I can do that. It just wasn't a main priority. I was getting everything else done. So, and it's been a month and a bit and getting these small amount of things done. I have done other things in between, but I also haven't been that well. So I've just been kind of not doing anything at all, just resting in the morning. So that's more or less been removed, and I'll sort that later. Otherwise, in here, the cabin, there is still other things I've yet to do. Not going to reveal that just yet, but the one issue I did have was with the fans always staying on, like the ignition to go on, fans to be running. Very common issue with these cars. And what I found it to be in my situation, even though I did replace that temperature sensor in the radiator to activate the fans, because it didn't have one. It didn't have one installed, period. So I thought that was the be all end all. Put one in, it still did it. And it kind of baffled me at first, but I thought, whatever, I'll deal with it later. I've discovered then thereafter, after a fair bit of research, there is 4 different sensors for these cars, and 4 because different generations. As the years advance, they change the sensor. The plug itself changed from a round to a square from memory. But beyond that, there is essentially then 2 sensors. One for cars with air conditioning, the other for cars without air conditioning. One acts as a thermostat, so it reads a scale. The other one simply activates when it hits a certain point, like a certain temperature. The one for AC cars is absolutely impossible to find. If there are any out there, they are on someone's back shelf in a shop, not advertised online. I looked forever trying to find one. They just do not exist. You can't get new stock, you can't get aftermarket equivalents, anything like that. And no one at this point in time that I've seen, again, I've done a lot of searching on this, has managed to find an equivalent that'll work with the cars that reads that same range. Even if we need to re-tap the radiator and everything like that and change the plug, no one's found anything yet. Not a massive problem for me because air conditioning is not present in this car, but for anyone with air conditioning, once those switches, or those thermostat switches for the radiator cack it, you're not going to be able to find a replacement, which means you're then going to do some hackery with the wiring or the switches for the fans and all that sort of thing to make it all function. What I've done, because I don't have air conditioning, is bypass that system. So now, because I have that on-off switch, thermo switch, I've simply just done a loop in between a couple of pins. So it more or less now reads straight from the thermostat sensor to the relay. As soon as the thermostat sensor hits a certain range, it then activates the relay, turns the fans on. So it's very much old school in that setup, and what, again, non-AC cars have as a standard setup. So that now is rectified. So once the temperature does get to temp, fans will come on, problem solved, I don't have to worry about that. Beyond that, that was more or less it for the front end. So yeah, the fan's now sorted. That was another thing that was really bugging the crap out of me. And one of the biggest things, because you just crank it on and it's just blaring fan sound. Final thing. I think there's probably a couple other things. Final thing was the engine lid cover here. So the piece underneath, the splash guard, it just looked horrible. It was rusty. You could see through. It just looked gaudy. But beyond that too, the clip which held the prop rod was broken. It wasn't present, and therefore I ended up ordering a replacement of those. It now actually holds in place. So everything to do with this now is sorted. I have also sprayed that lovely section in the middle, and it looks completely crap, but anyway, it's, again, never going to be a show pony. It is designed to be driven. So this will be a track car mostly, driven on the road occasionally. I don't really care what cars look like cosmetically. It annoys me when I buy newer cars and they get scratched or dinged or chipped. Older cars like what I own now, I don't have one new car left, I got rid of them all. Yeah, I don't mind because they're already scratched, they're already scuffed. If it gets chipped, it gets chipped. I don't care as much. This car has so many dings on it. If it gets another one, I don't really care. So visually, it's black. It's somewhat blending. And again, once I get it buffed, maybe it'll look slightly better. I doubt it, but whatever. So that's another thing sorted. The situation here is all done. The boot, otherwise, so trunk system, the very base was kind of rusty and looked ugly. That's all been scrubbed out and prepped now, so it was rust treated. Also put down a lick of paint, so same kind of black anti-rusting paint is what I put on the top section here and everything like that. So it's now sorted. Carpet's back in there, however, because I think they just kind of ripped out the carpet originally. They didn't take the plugs out, so all the plugs were still in there when I first got the car. I think they just ripped the carpet out, and the holes which hold, are held in place with those plugs are elongated now. So I'll need to find bigger plugs. In the interim, not a big problem, because we do need to get to the ECU and wiring, which is behind that carpet in the boot anyway. So once I've done that, maybe then I'll look for larger plugs, just so the carpet doesn't fall down, because if you kind of push things in the wrong way, or maybe have some luggage in there, it kind of moves about, it's going to pull that carpet away. So for now, it's in there with the original clip, but we'll be finding other things to use in the future. So that's more or less the last thing there from front to back. The only thing I have forgotten, which I will bring up now, is these mirrors. So these do have the issue, unfortunately, because they are the folding mirrors, they flip about, they jog way too much. They have tolerance in them, which when you're driving along, they just vibrate and you can barely see out the rear. Beyond that too, this mirror does not fold in, the passenger side does. This side can actually have the mirror adjusted by the switch, the passenger side does not. So either there's some wiring dodginess going on, or the motors themselves, one way or the other, have failed. So not too fussed about the folding factor. The adjustment on passengers is a little annoying, but you tend not to adjust them anyway. Once they're set, you forget them. So I'm not overly fussed, but maybe I'll find a replacement mirror, or re-gut that thing in the future. In the interim, I might just simply put some packers underneath here. I have taken it apart, inspected it. I think it's just loose from age, just wear. And the longer it's sat jigging about, the more it's going to increase the tolerance there. So yeah, that'll be pretty much the last thing to do in that situation. But apart from that, something that I can't easily show you is the front toe on the left side was out. It was further forward, which is why the plastic splash guard on the passenger side was chewed out, but the driver's side was not. This car has had a collision on the front end that was evident by the fact of the smashed fog light, and the bumper at the bottom is kind of pushed in a little bit. Doesn't seem to be any frame damage, but then you've got the issue of that front toe being out. And there's no reason for the toe to be out. The weird thing is too, the arm itself and the bushings still look original. So I don't know. But I've fixed that too, so I'm sure the steering wheel will need to be adjusted once more. I've got to get this whole thing aligned regardless. And of course, I've still got many more bushes to install. It's still running in some situations 80 bushes in the rear end. All the sway bars back here are the originals. Some of the fronts have been replaced. The drop links to the front's been replaced. The drop links to the rear have not been replaced. So again, they'll need to be done due course. So I've still a little ways to go, but the car is drivable. Again, I've already driven it 3 hours. I know what it's like. I just need to get the leaks and the motor sorted now, and of course, fix the engine in general. So thank you very much for joining me. As always, like, subscribe, comment below, etc. This has been Dat Build. Now get back to your build. Until next time, guys. Cheers.